Welcome to the Audacious Empires podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Waugh, business integrator and founder of Audacious Empires. Each week, my crew and I will be exploring all things building and scaling an extraordinary business. This podcast is here to share how multi-six and seven-figure entrepreneurs can step out of daily business operations and slide into being CEOs, expanding your reach and increasing your impact. Learn how to build your team the right way, create smart systems, and get the support you need to keep growing. It's time to get out of the doing and become the thought leader and world-class empire builder that you are. Hey, legend. Today, I want to talk to you about how you can systemize your marketing to create more time in your business. Let me guess. You have lots going on, lots of plates spinning, and you've got ideas that have been on the back burner for ages. And you wish, like really wish, you could just get to them and see your ideas out in the world. But to do that, you need more time. Sound familiar? I am not a mind reader, but the battle with time is by far the biggest issue I see impact-driven empire builders face. There's lots of moving parts. There's lots that need your attention and simply not enough hours in the day. You probably also know you need better systems in place to help solve this problem. But either you don't know where to start, you don't know how to do it, or wait for it, you don't have the time to get it to happen. I have the answer for you, my friend. Systemize your marketing and more time will follow. How do I know? Because I have done this with lots of my clients and I've seen this time and time again, which is good news for you because it means that you have lots of options. Now, when we want to create more time and capacity in our businesses, it really comes down to one simple concept. And I'm going to tell you what that is. You need to do less of the things you don't need to do and more of the things you do need to do. Yes, it sounds simple, but it's true. Let's follow the whole keep it simple, stupid concept, right? This means we need to get some of the things for you off that first list, the things that you are doing that you don't need to do. A big misconception is that everything you're doing right now, only you can do. There is nothing you can shift and move. Everything needs you. Your expertise, your knowledge, your flavor, your drive, they're all you tasks. So how can you possibly move any of this stuff off your list? Then we go into a spiral of thinking, I can't create more time and capacity. I'm at my maximum and there is no option for me. I am going to bet if I took a look at the list of things you're doing, I would find a bunch of things that could be shifted. It's all about how you look at it. The reason I talk about creating systems and systemizing your business so much is because I know through systemizing areas of your business, you can move things from one list onto someone else's. And that first list, that things that you need to do list will get smaller and smaller because they are other people's jobs. And then you can add the things that have been on the back burner to your new list and start getting those done. But if we stay in the mindset of all of this stuff just needs me and there's no doors to open, we're not going to get anywhere. If we systemize, we start to transform the processes and tasks from being something that had to always be done by you into someone else can do this job, which is freeing. You get more capacity. Other people get opportunity. But you just need to know how to do it. Your marketing system and the processes that belong inside that system is one of the areas of businesses like yours that take so much time. It is something that empire builders struggle with consistently, because marketing is important. Marketing is how we get the leads. Marketing is how we build the brand. Marketing is how we get revenue. Marketing is how we create engagement. So by default, we will make sure we're doing it. We'll make sure we're putting in place the things so that we're constantly building our business and being there for our audience. And then it's easy to fall into the trap of spending way too much time on this important area. We spend way too much time on marketing and creating content. I will tell you, marketing is important, but it does not need the amount of attention you're giving it. It needs attention. It needs to hold its place and do its job. But the likelihood is the way that you're doing it is costing you. And it's taking away the other opportunities you could be having. Systemizing it, systemize this one area of your business, and you will save chunks of time. And I'm going to tell you how you can do this. It all starts with what we believe the purpose of marketing is. When we are impact-driven, when we want to see the world change, when we are very connected to our cause and our business and our people, we start to believe that good marketing is about having lots of new campaigns, new ideas, new concepts, new opportunities. But the purpose of marketing in your business is not new. New is not the objective of marketing. Being relevant, creating engaging and transformational content, inspiring people to take the next step, that's the objective. We want to get people to make the move. We want to create awareness. And in this trap of believing that new is what we should be doing, we end up spending lots of time and resources creating content, creating campaigns, creating conversations, going down pathways that we probably shouldn't go down. And we don't have any ability to leverage what we've created. Everything is one and done or two and done. We don't want to do that. When we shift what the objective of our marketing is, it changes the way we do marketing. And that changes the amount of resources it needs. You might be a little bit confused, but I am going to explain this for you as we go. We solve this issue of marketing being a big time suck by having a system. We need a system that governs how you choose what content you create, what happens with it, who is needed to create it, how it happens, and when it happens, every time. This system should include at least these 6 things. First thing is a governing purpose. That means knowing what we're trying to achieve and why we're doing it. For every piece of content, everything that goes into our marketing, every offer or sale we're trying to make, we want to think about why we're doing it. Are we looking for people to sign up for something? Are we looking for people to start thinking about something in a new way? Are we looking to create conversation? Are we looking to educate our audience on a particular thing we know they struggle with? What is the purpose? And overall, for marketing in our whole business, what is the purpose? What do we want to see from our marketing? What role does it play in our business to bring in new leads, to create visibility, to make more connections, to transform lives? What are we looking at from our marketing as a whole? Because that should govern everything else. What we don't want is to create a whole system that's based on achieving something we don't really want, or something we just thought that's how you do it, so we've always done it that way. So first thing, your system needs a governing purpose. Why are we doing this? The second thing is your system needs to consider the people resources. Who is needed to pull this off? If I had a whole marketing system, what people would be inside that system? Would there be a graphic designer? Would there be a videographer? Would there be a copywriter? Would there be a video star, aka you? Who is needed here? Would there be a social media scheduler? Would there be someone who is going to be a content strategist? The list could go on. There are so many different roles that you can have in marketing, but what's important for your system is that you know the people that you need, even if it's just a starting point. These are the people that I can see that this system is going to need, and then you expand it as you grow and change. That's totally fine. The third thing is the tools that you'll use. Marketing, particularly when we're in an online space, in an online world where everybody is on social media and everyone is using PR and everybody opens Google to find out what the news is instead of opening the newspaper. You need to think about what tools belong in your system. Do you have a social media scheduling tool? Do you have an AI writing tool? Do you have an AI image creation tool? Do you have a graphic design tool? Do you have a project management system? What are the tools that you need in place that are going to make your goals achievable? Is it an email marketing system? Is it a website? Think about all of these things. These will get considered in your system. The fourth thing, and this one is probably a bit chunky, is the processes that are going to be followed. So a process and a system are not the same thing. Processes live inside systems. Processes are how you conduct each task, the way we're going to go about doing it. What are some of the processes that would live in this system? So for example, one might be every month we're going to have a content planning meeting. Okay, that's one process. In that meeting, these are the things that we're going to cover, and here is how it's going to work. Another process might be how we then take our core concept and create social media posts from that. How do we do it? Who is involved? What tools do we use? We flesh out the process. What is our content review process? Think about the different processes that bring the pieces together to make the system function. The fifth thing is the timeline and distribution. Time is important and delivery is important, and making sure that we are delivering on time is very important. So we need to factor this in. We need to look at, okay, I am going to do a monthly content planning meeting. But from that meeting, I need to spend a week concepting the core content for that month, let's say, and creating it. Then there's going to be a week where somebody else is going to take that and they're going to pull it apart and create multiple pieces of content from that one piece. Then we're going to need 2 days for our virtual assistant to go and schedule it in the platforms. And we're going to need 3 days for the website assistant to put it into a blog. Where are these things going to go? What channels? What tools? What people? And then what's that timeline? Now, the criteria here, notice how I haven't given you any dates. I've not said on Tuesday, we're going to do this, or on Tuesday, the 27th, we're going to do this, because what I want is create rhythms. We want to create marketing rhythms here. And that includes in the timeline. If we can anchor things to each other and we can make dependencies, it'll make your whole system function better, because things become linear. It becomes really easy for you to see what happens, what needs to happen, the order it needs to happen, and if things are ahead or behind. It also gives your team and your people the timeframes they need to plan around your activities. If I know that a week after that content planning meeting, I am going to have to do my part of the job. I can then plan my schedule around that. I understand that's coming. Doesn't matter when that monthly planning meeting is. I still know it's going to be about a week until I get my bit. If there's no timeline and there's no rhythm, I know that there's going to be a content planning meeting at some point. And then at some point after that, could be 1 day, 2 day, 14 days, 3 weeks, it'll be my turn to do something with it. And it's so much less efficient. If we create dependent rhythms, it's far more effective. And then the last thing is how you will track and measure what you're doing. So your system always needs a component that tells you if we're meeting our objective. We have that governing purpose at the top of it. How do we know if we're following that? How do we know if we're hitting the mark? How do we know if the things that we're doing are working? So that is something else that your system should include. If your marketing system has at least these 6 things, you are going to have built a really solid foundation for a system that is set up for success. So give it a shot. Don't overthink it. Something is better than nothing. And I would rather you give this a try and put pieces in place and then improve it as you go than try and have a perfect concept to begin with. So if you know that right now you are in this place where so many things need you and your focus, your attention, and your time, and you know that you spend a lot of time on marketing, you don't quite know where all the time goes, but generally it is on marketing, or that's where your thoughts are constantly. How do we get from there to a systemized marketing approach? Again, I have the answer for you, and I'm going to break it down into some easy steps you can follow. So the first one is to focus on people first. At the end of the day, we market to connect with other humans, to connect with the people that are relevant to what we're doing, to connect with the people who want to engage in our services, to create an impact with the people who we exist to help, right? So let's focus on them first. What do they want and what do they need? What is our audience lacking? What are they seeking from us? What problems do they have? What desires do they have? What do they need to hear? We want to focus on that. Now, can I tell you, going back to our misconception about marketing being about new things, when we focus on what our audience want and need, you'll find that the things that they want and they need don't change a lot. People generally are slow to change and process. And your audience is filled with one person. You've got a whole audience of one person, one person, one person. All these people that think and feel different things at different stages. But the thing they need from you is going to be consistently the same. They want the same thing solved by you. They want the knowledge that you have about a specific thing. And that's what we want to focus on, because that is repeatable. That will show us what we need to serve up on a silver platter that's actually going to hit home and create transformation and impact on other people. And more times than not, it does not change frequently, does not need a whole lot of new. So we want to focus on the people first. Then we want to create quality content based on that. We want to think about the surface level content, the things that would be obvious that pop out of our heads when we think about a certain thing our audience needs. And then we want to pull it apart some more. We want to dig deeper. We want to expand the ideas. We want to look for different ways we can help people. How can we take our one core concept and find different avenues to share that with our audience? All with that same purpose of giving them what they need around it. The next step is to understand human behavior. There are so many things in business that are reliant on the way humans think and feel, on human psychology and how we behave. This is such a big thing in marketing, and especially when we're facing this idea that everything needs to be new. Here's something that I can tell you about human behavior. We need someone to say something and then to say it again and then to say it again and then say it another 4 times before we can hear it, before we can start to comprehend it. That's why new isn't the objective. We need it repeated. We need it to be direct and clear. You need to explain to me exactly what your concept is and exactly how that applies to me. And then you need to tell me 7 more times before I'll even register that for me. We also know that people tend to opt out before they opt in. If they hear you talking about something, and unless you have directly said, this is for all of the people in my audience who wear blue hats, they are going to assume that piece isn't for them before they assume, oh my goodness, this is the thing I have needed. Because we need it to be black and white. And because we always think, oh, it mustn't be for me, or maybe I've got it wrong. That's human behavior. So saying things again and saying it again gives us the opportunity to call out the different people within our audience who this is for. 7 times, 7 different ways to get them to see, hey, I have the answer for you. This is you I'm talking to. And then we need to tell them what to do next. If we're constantly sharing new things in new ways, new ideas, new concepts, new offers, new ways to work with me, I am not going to make any decision. It's too much for me. I haven't even fully grasped the initial concept yet. But if you share that concept and you share it well with consistency, and then you tell me the very next step I need to take, or the thing I need to try, the thing I need to sign up for, the thing you want me to buy, I'm going to go and take that step. I'm going to be far more likely to take that step or buy your thing because I feel secure in that decision. I know what's expected of me. I feel safe and secure. That is all human behavior. And it changes the way our systems and our processes in our business work, which is why it's important to come back to people first. Then, this is one of my favorite bits. You want to repurpose to get the leverage. We want one piece of content everywhere on repeat. And no, this does not mean that you need to have one blog post that you put into 10 social media posts that go out once a week for the rest of eternity and it feels stale. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is looking at your core concept, creating some really solid long form content around that concept, and then being creative and clever on how you use that. We want things where you've got a long form piece of content. You can make a video, you can put it on YouTube, you can do a podcast, you can create a course out of it. You can create reels, you can create feed posts, you can create static posts, you can use stories to relate back into it, you can do tweets, you can have a YouTube channel. There are so many ways to use content and so many places it can go, all from one core piece. But first you have to decide where your people are and where you're going to put your effort. You don't have to be everywhere. You can be. But I always think that it's great to have a few places you want to start. Have a few places and determine how you're going to take that one really quality piece of content and how you're going to showcase that to the world in all different ways. From one solid blog post, you can have a month, easy, 2 months of static posts. You won't even have to try that hard. Remembering, we don't want new. We want the same thing said in maybe a slightly different way, with a slightly different image, with a slightly different feel, in a slightly different media form, on a different channel. All of that is okay. And we want to point back to that big piece of content over and over again. We can have different calls to actions, one that goes to the direct piece of content that you've made, one that goes to a podcast, one that goes to a video. We can have engagement posts where it's that content, but then the call to action is to say, how are you experiencing this? Has this helped you? Send me a DM. You're using it in all different ways and you're building out your content vault. And we want to be sending people back to that long form piece because really, that's where all the good stuff is. We put in time and effort into one solid piece because that's the thing that is going to help people with the transformation. But we want to make sure we're showing it to people over and over again because, again, each piece, I need to see it at least 7 times before I'm even going to pay attention, before I'm going to click the link and go and look at it. So can you see how sometimes we can invest all this time and have epic, amazing thought leadership, and we share that link 3 times in 3 different places and then never again? All of the impact we could have created from that, we have just lost. And that's what we want to get out of the habit of. We want to be smart about how we're doing this, and we want to recognize what each piece of content means for our audience, the role that it plays, and really doubling down on that impact and that purpose, because that's how we get out of this spiral of it needs to be new. It doesn't need to be new. It needs to be in front of the right people when they need it. And we don't want to put it in a box just because it's dusty and it's not shiny anymore. It's still going to be so valuable. And what's worse is you spending all of your energy, especially when you could be creating other things that you need, or making a bigger impact in other areas, because you're trying to keep up with how fast-paced this online world is. Change your mindset around it and start getting the leverage. That's how you start getting content that makes you money. That's how you start creating content that gets the impact. Then you want to stay on track. So we need to, again, measure, adjust, and ditch. Keep your content vault growing. Watch what the types of posts you're creating, the types of content you're creating, the types of media you're creating. Watch what the impact is that it's having on your audience. Are people responding? What do they respond to more? How are they responding? Are they then taking action based on that? Are you making more connections? Can you see the impacts that you're wanting to see? Are you getting the click-through that you want to get? Are you getting the leads on the email list? Are you getting the replies to the emails? Whatever it is that you want to see, we want to track it. And then we do not want to be scared to change it. Change is not a bad thing. And it also doesn't put us back into that new bucket. We're not changing things just to change them. We're following the data. And we want to be able to adjust and tweak and go, you know what? Every time I do a video, it gets shown to so many more people and I get so many more DMs based on that. So instead of putting all of our effort into writing 27 static posts, let's create 3 more videos and see what happens. So we're leveraging the things that are working with that same piece of content. And then we're pausing the things that aren't working. But there is a caveat here. Please give your different options time to work, for you to really see how the audience responds. Too often, we will cut things because we don't see an immediate response, and it's simply not enough time. Because remember, people need to see it 7 times at least before you even know what's going on. So don't cut things off too soon. Test them properly, then adjust. And then the final piece is, if you want to successfully systemize your marketing and the way that your approach to marketing happens in your business, walk away from the pieces. If you want your list to be only the things that you can do and not the things that you don't need to do, you should not be managing all of this. You should not be setting it all up. You should be getting someone else to do that for you. Someone to be your eyes and ears, someone to help you drive it so that you can go and do those things we talked about at the very beginning. Get more time, get more capacity, start having the impact with the new ideas that you've been wanting to do for so long. Does that make sense now? It doesn't have to be you. And in every step of this process, there are ways to make it not need to be you. So if you want help systemizing your marketing or systemizing your processes in your business, systemizing different areas in your business, hit me and my team up. We do this all the time. It is one of my favorite things. At Audacious Empires, audaciousempires.com. You know where to find us, and come and talk to me. I like people. So I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to know if you found this episode valuable and if you're going to try it. Doesn't matter who you're going to work with or which step you're going to take first. If you're going to try it, I would love to know. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you next week. Loving the Audacious Empires podcast? Drop into our DMs at Audacious Empires and say hi. We'd love to get to know you better. If you're finding these episodes useful, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Thanks for tuning in. You are why we're here.